Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Daryl Moss. I'm here with my colleagues, Lucy Diana and Stacy Hendry, for our weekly webinar. So today we're talking about some more of our favorite kitchen tools and some kitchen tips. So I'm going to start us off telling you guys why I love cooking with stainless steel. So this is my stainless steel small skillet. I'm going to make a fried egg in it. One of the reasons I love to cook with stainless steel is that it distributes the heat really evenly throughout the pan. There are no cold spots. The whole pan heats up really quickly and very evenly. And there are no chemicals leaching into the food from the stainless steel. And anyone who knows me knows that I am very chemical phobic. I don't want anything peeling off the pan and going into my food. So stainless steel is a great way to avoid that issue and having things cook really easily. So a lot of people tell me they don't like cooking with stainless steel because the food sticks. So the food sticks if you don't heat everything up the way it needs to be heated up. So I have preheated this pan. And when you cook with stainless steel, you need to get the pan hot before you put in any oil or butter, whatever you're cooking with. Once the pan is hot, then you can put the oil in or the butter. And when that is hot, which happens really quickly, then you put in the food. So how do you know when your pan is hot? So I have a little water here. I'm just going to drop it. And you can, I don't know if you can see this, but it sort of bubbles. It gets into like little beads going around the pan. And that means the pan is hot and it's ready to go. So you never want the pan, you don't want to burn the oil or the butter. So you don't want it too hot. So I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil, and I'm not cooking on a high heat. So I have probably like a teaspoon in here, and I'm going to swirl it around the pan so it's evenly covered. And I'm going to leave it there for just a few seconds while it gets hot. Another reason you want to let the pan get hot is that stainless steel actually has these little tiny pores that you can't see. And when you cook on when you start cooking and the pan isn't hot enough, the food gets stuck in those pores. But by heating everything, you're stopping that from happening. Okay, so you can hear that sizzling. So what you can do when you're making a fried egg, if you want it to cook a little faster, you can just put a top on, cover the pan for a minute. So I'm going to let that cook for a second. So I also use a stainless steel spatula when I'm cooking on my stainless steel pans, no plastic on the pans. Another thing I love about stainless steel is that it can go right from the stovetop right into the oven. So last weekend I made brisket, and I've used a really big stainless steel pot, and I sauteed the onions and the mushrooms on the stove. I seared the meat, and I put the meat and the sauces on top of the onions and the mushrooms and just stuck it in the oven, and it cooks for hours. And when it came out, I thought it was a brand new pan. I was like, oh my God, my husband's going to kill me. I ruined this brand new pan. And it cleaned up so easily. So I'm just going to quickly go around the edges with the spatula. I hope I don't break the yolk when I turn this. It's so easy to cook. So I'm going to give a little salt and pepper. Unfortunately, I broke the yolk a little bit. So depending on how runny you like your egg, you can let it cook for a longer or shorter period of time. But when you put something on a hot pan, again, it barely sticks. It doesn't stick really, except I broke the yolk a little bit, but you can see the pan's pretty clean. So one thing it's really important with stainless steel and with cookware in general is whatever you're cooking with, aside from knowing how to cook with it, you really need to know how to clean it. So you don't want to put a hot stainless steel pan in the sink and put cold water on it. You want to let the pan cool off on the stove before you wash it. I never, ever use steel wool when I clean my stainless steel pan. This is my favorite cleaner for it. Can you see it? But I know there's a glare. It's called Bar Keeper's Friend, and you can get this at really probably any supermarket in the cleaning section. And it's really a terrific, terrific product for cleaning stainless steel. I also have a big stainless steel skillet that I'll use if I'm sauteing, if I'm making fish or chicken cutlets or something like that. And sometimes when you're making that much food, there are little tiny bits that stick in the corners of the pan. Leave those there because those are really important for flavoring your sauces. So that's what I wanted to say about my favorite pans, my stainless steel pans. And I'm going to turn this over to Lucy, who's going to talk about another kind of pan that I also really like.
Thank you, Daryl. So many similarities. If you like tradition, then you're going to love what the pan that I use all the time, and it's the cast iron. I pre-cooked the egg to save time, but these pans, cast iron pans, are a family tradition. If you take care of them well, if you season them, then they will last literally generations. And they have been in use for over 1,000 years. Like Daryl, I am chemical phobic. So I will absolutely not use any kind of cookware that's going to leach into my family's food. It is incredibly important for me as a mom to make sure that the delicious food I'm making stays as healthy as it's meant to be. So that's why one of my choices is cast iron. So family tradition, so cast iron is about tradition. And my family tradition is Sunday breakfast or holiday breakfast. Mom is well known for that. And I love to make fritada. And for the time today, I'm not presenting. We could do that on another Wednesday. But so I start my fritada, the sauteing with minimal oil in the cast iron, sauteing the vegetables and breaking up my eggs and starting the cooking of the fritada, which is like the egg Italian omelet, here on the stovetop. And the beauty of it is that halfway through, I can open up my oven and pop the pan into the oven because it's oven safe, obviously. And notice that I have a mitt because the pan is iron. It's metal. It conducts heat really well and evenly. And that's one of my favorite parts of the cooking of it, is because the food is cooking evenly. And also when I take that egg omelet out of the oven, it slides easily off the pan. Actually, and you know what? I love the cast iron so much that I serve it in the cast iron pan, and it's a favorite in the family. So going back to the even cooking is, so if you look at this, well, let me talk about the amount of fat that you need to use to cook in the pan. Very little in the cast iron pan. I put a drop of olive oil. And like I said, I don't like nonstick pans, but I wanted to show you the egg. Look how easily it moves. You see that? It's not sticking at all. So to me, that's important because I cannot stand when my food sticks and then the presentation doesn't look good. Being a restaurateur, I'm not going to want that. And what else can I tell you about this? Oh, another important point for me, not only the even cooking, but when you sear meat or fish, it sears evenly. Again, the presentation is beautiful and it's crispy. And that's important. Like for me, if I'm making my cod or I'm searing a piece of fish like that, I want to have that presentation and I want that nice golden crispy crust. And that's what you're going to get from the cast iron pan. And again, you can finish cooking by just easily popping it into the oven. But when you take it out of the oven, you have to be careful. They do sell rubber handle so you can slip onto the handle of the cast iron. Let me just make sure that I told you everything that I wanted to tell you. And as far as the cleaning up process, it's quite easy. You see that if it's used and it's been seasoned well, and this pan is seasoned well, there isn't much cleanup. Let me take the egg out. There goes my egg. It's not over easy like I like it, but here we go. And so the pan is relatively clean. I'm going to wipe it down and I'm good to go. And as far as the care of the pan, seasoning it means you'll want to coat it with a little bit of oil every once in a while, keep up with it. And then you bake it at low temperature in the oven for a couple of hours. Now, my mom, who could not be on this webinar, wanted to make sure I told all of you what she does, is that she keeps her stainless steel pans at the bottom of her oven. So when she's cooking anything, they're always there, and she swears by it. She doesn't interfere with the other cooking, so the pans are always well seasoned. I personally wouldn't do that, but I had to share mom's good advice. You know, moms know best. So that's it about stainless steel, excuse me, about cast iron pans, and knowing that this traditional cookware can be passed from one generation to the next. I think that's awesome. Stacy?
Okay, thank you, Lucy. I actually used my cast iron. I just bought a cast iron pan. I'm new to it, and I could not believe how little oil I needed to cook my dinner last night. So I'm loving it. But in the spirit of clean cookware, I want to talk about my cast iron skillet. Baking pan. So I'm so sorry. This is stainless steel, and we want to get away from any kind of nonstick, Teflon, any of those kinds of surfaces. So a stainless steel pan is great to use when you're baking in the oven. And instead of using foil, which the aluminum will leach into your food, I would use parchment paper. So I'm just going to put a thin piece of paper on this pan. I recommend you buy a box that is the same size as your pan, so you don't have to do any cutting. It makes it so much easier. Just pull a little bit out, rip it across, and you just line your pan with it. So it's going to require less oil. It's going to make the cooking even and make cleanup a breeze. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to make some roasted vegetables, which are my favorite thing. So simple. So I have here Brussels sprouts and broccoli. So just to show you, I cut the end off the Brussels sprout and then I quarter it. So you get a piece about this big. And then with the broccoli, I cut it long so that you get some of the stem. If the stem is long, I will cut that off and use the stem as well. But I like them small because I like them to get crispy. So just putting the broccoli and the Brussels sprouts on my parchment paper. And you can really use, roasting I think is best for drier vegetables, root vegetables, butternut squash, cauliflower, broccoli, sweet potatoes, white potatoes. Like zucchini, tomatoes, they're too moist, mushrooms. So I think it's better with the drier. I like it better with the drier vegetables. So then I'm just going to put, this is olive oil. I'm just going to drizzle a tiny bit. Probably I'm using maybe a teaspoon of olive oil. I'm just drizzling around on the vegetables. And then I like to season it. So I put a little bit of salt and some pepper. I like to put a tiny bit of salt, but I really like every other seasoning. And really anything you put on the roasted vegetable is good. It's all delicious. The thing is to use a good amount. So you want to kind of see an even layer on all the vegetables. And I'll just pull out whatever I have in my spice cabinet and make a mixture. So this is garlic powder, which is nice because it's fine and it sticks to the vegetables. So I'm covering them. This is adobo, which is a spice blend. I might use a jerk seasoning, a Cajun seasoning, whatever you have, or just make your own. Pull out rosemary, thyme, maybe some cumin, coriander, turmeric. And I'm going to put a good amount on it because then it really enhances the flavor. And you don't really have to stir it up. You can, if you want, just toss it around. But so I will put it in the oven at 425 and cook it about 30 minutes, and then I'll toss it again and put it back in for about 15. But then you really watch it so that it doesn't get too crispy. So I'm going to put these in the oven. And this pan I made earlier so you could see what they look like. So I like them a little crispy. on the ends. If you're not careful, they'll get really burnt really fast. But I mean, the broccoli, if it's small, it's like crunchy. It's so good. So I could just eat the whole tray. So, so this was what I had said. I cooked them about 35 to 45 minutes. Usually I do a tray full, and I will do a couple of trays. So this way I have them, and then I keep them for leftovers, and I might have them the next day with some quinoa or, you know, some chicken, whatever I have. I'll throw these roasted vegetables. You could even use them with eggs for an omelet in the morning. But the key is the stainless steel pan, using the parchment paper instead of aluminum foil. And it's a non-toxic way to cook. So those are our 3 tools for today. We'll open it up for questions, but I want to end saying next Wellness Wednesday, next week, I will be doing a cooking demonstration. We are right in the middle of our weight loss challenge for March and April. It's called Slim Possible, and it's been amazing. We have about 20 participants. They're all losing weight. They're getting outside and exercising. They're reducing their stress, and they're enjoying themselves. They're eating good food, they're having fun, and they're getting down to their optimal weight. So it's so great that we decided to rerun the program starting in May. So you'll see some registration information about that. So if you know anybody who'd be interested, let them know. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. Go ahead, Sally. Can you unmute?
Yeah, I have a question, Stacy. When you're preparing your vegetables, wouldn't it be easier if you put them all in a bowl, put the oil in and stuff, and so they're all seasoned before you put them on the tray to season them? At least I find it kind of tough.
So it would be, it's a different way, but I don't want to wash a bowl. I'm always looking for the least steps possible. Look, I think the 3 of us are really passionate about cooking really good food in the least amount of steps. So I avoid the bowl.
Yeah.
I used to use a bowl, but then I found I could just do it on the tray, and that works for me.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
How long can you keep them?
What? How long?
How long will they stay? A day or 2, or what? If you make a whole tray?
I would say a couple of days, 3-4 days. I mean, they're vegetables, so they last a little bit longer, but they're so good. I always eat them in a day or 2.
Okay, thank you.
But whenever I have the oven on for anything, I'll roast a tray of vegetables,
Stacey,
even if I'm not eating them.
oh, sorry.
Wow.
No, I just want to say about, can you hear me?
Yeah.
When about, saving food, any food that we are leftovers, the longer you keep them, the longer the chance that they're going to have like a bacteria forming. You understand? Not a bad bacteria that we're going to get sick, but we should eat the food as quickly as possible. So I just wanted to.
Thank you.
Nancy, did you have a question?
Yes, I came on a little late, so if you already discussed this, Lucy, forgive me, but I live with cast iron skillets. I adore them, and my husband is sort of hoarding them at this point, and he says that we're not supposed to put tomato sauce in there.
I'm going to have Daryl answer that because I actually don't have the answer for that. I was not aware of it, but Daryl is aware of that. So Daryl.
Yeah, Nancy, so tomatoes can react with the iron.
That's what he says. Okay.
So we have cast iron and stainless steel. I was talking about stainless steel today, but if I'm making like a puttanesca sauce or something, I make it in the stainless steel pans.
Okay. And it's funny that you would mention puttanesca because actually I love puttanesca. And I'm wondering, do you have a recipe that you like for puttanesca? Because I actually looked it up the other day and it didn't sound like the puttanesca. I like puttanesca that has like olives and capers and anchovies, right?
So I have a recipe. I can send it to you later. I like it with anchovies too, but Mike doesn't like a lot of anchovies. So, but I put the olives and the capers in. So I'll send it to you.
Okay, great, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I had a question, Stacy. Could you please repeat the cooking instructions for the vegetables? I missed the oven temperature and the time frame.
So I use it 425 if I don't have other things in the oven. And I drizzle a little olive oil and a lot of seasoning. And then I do for about a half hour, then I'll stir it. I'll flip it with a spatula and put it back in and just watch it after that, maybe every 5-10 minutes. So if you know your oven, everything is different, but I don't want them to get charred. I just want them to get a little crispy.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, ladies. This has really been wonderful. Thank you.
Welcome. I'll be sending the recording around to everyone who's registered if I have your email, and a link to the YouTube. We've been putting all these on our YouTube channel, so we would love it if you subscribed, because then you'll always see the next update. And definitely share with friends if you know anyone who would be interested.
Okay, thank you
Any
so
other-
much.
You're welcome. Any last questions?
Thank you a lot. It's
Thanks,
great.
Welcome, Sally.
Listen, I think I gave my cast iron pan to Daryl. Daryl, I want it back.
Okay.
There you go, handing down of the generations.
Mother's Day is coming up.
Yes.
Yes, you could give back, you could wrap it, put a bow on it, give it back.
I think with that cast iron pan, it's the only way to make really great Southern fried chicken. And that's why I have to go out and buy one. I've tried the air fryer, I've tried everything. And I think from my childhood and growing up,
I'm
that
feeling
cast
like
iron
this is not a
pan
mission-
really makes good fried chicken.
I'm feeling like that's not a mission to wellness item.
Yeah.
I do find that you can sear meat and chicken to get that crispy coating.
Yeah.
With minimal amount of oil in a cast iron skillet. So if you, I mean, I wouldn't be a fan of the batter dipped.
Oh, but that's what Sally wants. She wants.
I
the
know,
best.
sorry, Sally. But if you can find a healthier version of that and then cook it in cast iron, or just sear the meat
Wait,
itself.
Sally,
Good.
my stepson makes the best fried chicken I've ever eaten in my life. And he
Okay.
does it in a really big, like soup pan, like a big pot, soup pot. And he like has a basket in it, and he puts the basket in there, and there's like a lot of oil, as I remember, and it's really seasoned, and it comes out unbelievably well. And I can ask him if you want how he does it, because I'm not kidding you. It shames any fried chicken you've ever had.
I want to just add something on Sally's behalf. Okay, she likes her Southern fried chicken. Sally, you are an inspiration. Okay, because look at you, and you are proving to us that it is not just about food, and you can enjoy your Southern fried chicken and age gracefully and be vibrant for many, many years. So thank you for that example. And we are about moderation. So enjoy your fried chicken.
I have a request. Can everyone share these recipes with us?
Yeah, I've got to find, I don't know about you, but getting millennials to return text when you ask them for something is like, I'll be back in touch with you by next December on this.
We'll send it to Daryl and we'll forward it to the group.
Okay. I'm going to see him on Sunday, and I'll just write it down.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.